Cyber pros across government are excited about using AI for cyber defenses. When I ask them why, automation is usually at the top of the list of reasons. Steve Faehl is Security Chief Technology Officer at Microsoft Federal. I ask him if automation is the primary benefit cyber practitioners will get from AI.
As we think about the transformative capabilities of AI as it relates to cybersecurity, there is an automation element, but it's not always point A to point B problem solution. Really what's needed are full systems that take advantage of the AI capabilities as it relates to cybersecurity problem spaces. And so it's very natural when you're engaging with a transformative technology like AI for the first time to want to apply that model, that powerful, multifaceted tool directly to the problem space, but you have to be thoughtful about the way you craft a system around it and what are really the outcomes that you're trying to achieve. I liken it to someone taking a twin outboard motor and lashing it to a surfboard, right? It's great for speed and propulsion, not such a great idea to ride on. And so as we think about these systems and really how they're going to transform cyber, there's an element of new things, new ways to understand data that we really haven't delved into before because it just wasn't possible at human capacity and scale. So as we look at new resources, new mechanisms of solving problems with AI, we actually have to go back and reinvent some of the categories that were really tried and true from a cyber perspective, now that there's increased capability, increased potential. But I think it really is around crafting those entire systems, having a plan for how you're going to address each of the outcomes and what are really the elements that maybe humans are not proficient at or that we could never have enough humans to solve. That's a great place to leverage artificial intelligence for cyber to really help your analysts, to help the cybersecurity community achieve more in the face of adversaries.
So going back to that idea that you touched on a moment ago about people having to rethink, sounds like I'm using the term the art of the possible. How does that work when you see things that you didn't see before just because of scale? I mean, that sounds like the problem that you were addressing a moment ago.
Well, it's almost like you have to stop and think through things that were muscle memory.
Yeah.
So if we think about scenarios like data breaches around data classification, rapid understanding of data, if we think about tracking nation state actors, internally at Microsoft, we've used AI in all of those use cases to great effect. But first we had to pause and say, what are the opportunities now that I have this new tool to do something and reimagine the art of the possible, as you said. And to that end, we've run into scenarios where we've seen a general 26% overall increase in productivity for our analysts, just having another tool in their toolkit that they can rely on that's a multifunction tool that can be used to work with data in new ways. We have analysts that may have one area of specialty that are now able to operate in several others just because they're augmented through the use of a very flexible tool that they can apply to any problem. So there is a creative and learning aspect to it as well. But then we look at scenarios that do involve automation, such as how do we track nation-state threats and changes in those threats at scale? How do we make cybersecurity information more consumable by the community? How do we adapt different ways of talking about cyber threats into something that really is portable and valuable for the entire community? We're looking at investigations that we've run that have had orders of magnitude faster completion just due to having AI capabilities to really scale the intelligence and scale the approach. They're still managed by analysts, they're still managed by the folks that are the experts in the field, but to have this additional capability they can bring to the table enables them to move much more rapidly and maneuver in cyberspace.
How do you recommend that people keep their eyes on the fact that that's the right approach and not going and getting some tool, whether it's AI or some other cool new technology? Let's not do that. Let's think about what's the context and what's the outcome that we want. How do you suggest people stay focused on that?
I think measurability and testability is an important facet to it. As you look at creating responsible AI systems, there really is this idea of reliable AI. Is the use case that I have, is it a reliable use case? I mentioned before, a little bit of a joke about the motor on the surfboard, right? But there are modes of transportation where we look at, is this a river cruise? Is this deep sea fishing? Is it an aircraft at 30,000 feet? Is it a space rocket? There are different use cases, different modalities, and the right form of propulsion really matters. And then crafting that system of safety and reliability around it to harness the energy properly. That's something we've done in a number of domains, and we'll do it with artificial intelligence as well. But it really is that systems thinking around what are the tools that I need to build for my organization to be successful, what tools exist in the market, and whether they're using artificial intelligence or not, is really a question on those outcomes. So staying focused on what are the true risks, what threat intelligence do I have to help me organize and prioritize those risks, and then are the solutions and the strategies that I'm fielding, are they actually effective? And then of course, just within the community, having the conversation of what works. And so as cyber practitioners have conversations around, I use this tool to great effect, those things spread like wildfire in the community because it is an area of such need for digital safety, digital security. And as AI can come to the table and help us in reliable and responsible ways, we should absolutely take advantage of it to the greatest extent possible.
Steve Faehl of Microsoft Federal.